This is a reset class. Grab a couple of blocks if you need them and come and lie on your back. Knees are bent, feet are down. Maybe grab a block, keep it handy. As you inhale, lift your hips up. So we're going to start by finding that neutral pelvis and turning on the glutes. So you can come and rest your lower back, your sacrum, the fused part of the spine, on the block. You want to make sure it's nice and flat. So stay here, and then you can hover the hips up off the block and then come back down. Hover up and back down. You want to make sure that every time your sacrum comes back onto the block, that it's nice and flat. So when you lift up, your tailbone is pointing towards your heels and your pubic bone is coming up. Lengthen that lower back. Now stay up. You can slide the block out from under you. And now these ribs, we don't want them flaring, so keep the ribs down and in. Keep them engaged. And we're staying here, squeezing those sit bones together. The sit bones aren't actually going to move, but all the muscles around them are going to pull together. Big breaths here. Feet are flat on the ground. Bring the palms of the hands up towards the ceiling. Grab onto your left fingers. Pull them back slowly. A few deep breaths here. And then grab onto your right fingers. Pull them back. You should already feel your glutes working. If you're just lying here without activating, you're not going to feel much. But if you're really squeezing and trying to pull those sit bones together, you should be feeling that energy by now, just waking up those glutes. Hands come down. Do 5 more big breaths. And then exhale all the way down. Roll your spine back down to the ground. Keep your knees bent, your feet where they are. Interlace your hands behind your head. Close off those elbows. Inhale. Exhale, come up off the ground. Now look down at the belly, look down at that diamond and pull the lower belly down. Exhale and hold. Inhale, release. Exhale, come up off the ground. Keep that lower belly in. Ribs are in. Exhale and hold. Inhale, release. Exhale, come up off the ground. Straighten the left leg. Keep the knees at the same height. Flex the toes. Now pull that lower belly down. Keep that engagement. Don't let the ribs flare or the belly pull up. Keep exhaling and hold. Left foot down to the ground. Inhale and lower. Exhale, come up. Straighten the right leg. Come up a little bit higher. Keep that lower belly engaged. Hold. Right foot comes down. Inhale and lower. Exhale, come up. Straighten the left leg. Now twist slightly to the left. So both elbows are going to turn to the left. Make sure this left shoulder blade stays up high up off the ground. Pull that lower belly down. Keep the elbows in together. The more you keep your elbows in, the more you'll stay up off those shoulder blades. Come back to center. Lower the left foot. Inhale and lower. We'll do one last side. Exhale, come up. Straighten the right leg. Twist to the right, keep those elbows in. High up off that right shoulder blade. Come back to center, lower the right foot. Inhale and lower. You should have quickly warmed up those deep core abdominals. Pull the knees into your chest. You can rock forwards and backwards a few times. Cross the ankles over. Come on to all fours, and we'll come straight into our dolphin pose. So bring the forearms down to the ground. Palms of the hands are down. Tuck the toes under. Lift your hips up. So for dolphin, remember you have either the palms of the hands down or the fingers interlaced into that triangle, whichever is more comfortable for you. Lifting those hips up. Keep a bend in the knees. Maybe walk forward a little bit. Keep lifting up. You want to keep that spine nice and long. We want to open, broaden the shoulders and strengthen that upper body. Big breaths here. Keep pressing down into the ground. Try and lift your shoulders up towards your ears. Keep lifting those hips. Whenever it starts to get hard, count at least up to 5 before releasing. Through 2 more breaths. And then release the knees down to the ground. Pull the hips back, come into your child's pose. Hands are towards your feet. Release the shoulders. Pull your hands forward. Come into all fours. Tuck your toes under. And then lift those hips up high. Come into that downward dog. But keep the knees bent. Heels are up. And you're pulling those hips up towards the ceiling. Keeping the belly tight. Walk your feet forward. Slowly keep the knees bent, front of the mat. Now bring your hands onto your shins and then lengthen the spine. Come up halfway. Keep the knees bent, the hips pulled back. Hands to your hips. Lift up, nice straight back. Inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, forward fold. Hinge at the hips, bend the knees. Hands can come down either to the ground or to blocks. Step the right foot back. Right knee comes down to the ground. Untuck your right toes. Come into that low lunge. Right hand to your lower belly. Left hand to your lower back and squeeze. Keep the tailbone towards the ground. Pick that belly up and back. Keep those shoulder blades pulled together. Now bring this right hand to the back of your head. Lean your head into your hand. Make sure you have imagine you have a wall behind you and you have those 3 points against the wall. So it's the back of the skull, the shoulder blades, and the sacrum. So imagine this is a wall and you're leaning into it. Still that right glute is turned on, pushing the right glute forward, pulling the left foot back to feel that right psoas, the front of the right hip opening. Hands come down to the ground or to the blocks. Tuck your right toes under, lift your right knee up, step your left foot back, downward facing dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. Come up halfway, hands onto your shins, lengthen the spine. Then bring your hands to your hips and then roll up. Roll the hips up, the spine stays long. And then walk forward. Let's do the other side. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, forward fold. Step the left foot back. Left knee comes down, untuck the left toe. You're coming into that low lunge. Left hand to your lower belly, right hand to your lower back. Squeeze. Left glute is turned on. Really feel that opening here. Shoulder blades pull together. And then imagine that wall behind you as your left hand comes behind your head and you lean into it. Setting the neutral pelvis. And then release, hands come down to the ground. Tuck your left toes under, lift the left knee up, step the right foot back into downward facing dog. Walk your hands back, have your knees bent. Hands to your shins, come up halfway, still the knees bent, still the hips pulling back, but your spine is long. And then hands to your hips and help lift up with a nice long spine. Inhale, arms come up. And then walk forwards. Exhale, forward fold. Hands down to the ground of the block. Step the left foot back. Left knee comes down. Keep your left toes tucked under. You can check one hand to your belly, one hand to your lower back. And then we'll release and roll the shoulders back. Big opening for the chest here. Lift those shoulders up as high as you can. And then exhale, hands down to the ground, lift the left knee up, step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Walk the hands back to your feet. Hands to your shins, lengthen that spine. And then come all the way up with a nice long spine. Walk forwards, we've got one more side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Step the right foot back, right knee comes down, keep those right toes tucked under. You can check right hand to your belly, left hand to your lower back. And then release your arms, roll the shoulders back. Opening up the chest. One more. Hands come down to the block, step the left foot back, downward facing dog. Lift those hips up high. And then walk your hands back to your feet. Hands to your shins, lengthen the spine. And then come all the way up to standing. Exhale, release. Enjoy.